Willkommen bei unserer ersten Ausgabe unseres neuen Formats Auf Sendung. Wir sind hier heute im wunderschönen Zen Studio im Herzen Lichtenbergs und präsentieren euch heute eine Live-Performance, Interviews und ein Musikvideo bei uns aus dem Zen Studio. Aber was ist das überhaupt? Habt ihr schon mal von dem Zen Studio gehört? Wir sind eine Musik-Community, die sich vor circa einem Jahr gegründet hat und beheimaten KünstlerInnen aus allen möglichen Genres, aller möglichen Generationen und aller möglichen Musikstile. Und bringen dadurch natürlich auch eine Vielfalt an Instrumenten mit aus der ganzen Welt. Und natürlich machen wir auch solche Sachen wie Streaming-Konzerte, Fotoshootings, Videoshootings und so weiter und sind natürlich auch ein Recording-Studio. So sind wir hier heute endlich auf Sendung gekommen und zeigen euch heute mal ein Musikvideo von einer Band, von der wir jetzt gerade ein Album recorded haben. Und werden euch noch ein Interview mit der fantastischen Georgie Fisher präsentieren. Und im Anschluss, hey Georgie, im Anschluss noch eine Performance von den Tinker Tapes und David für euch bereithalten. Wir starten mit dem Musikvideo von der Band Rockinterviu, die bei uns mitprobt. Und die haben mit dem fantastischen David, der auch einer unserer besten Producer in-house ist, eine wunderbare Single aufgenommen und die kommt jetzt für euch.
Inside
Welcome back, everybody, to the Volcano Lounge with Georgie Fisher.
Hey, Slady.
Nice to see you again, Georgie.
Lovely to be here.
You're originally singer-songwriter from Sydney, Australia.
Yeah, I've been in Berlin coming up to 8 years now.
Wow.
So it's my second home, I guess you would say.
Yeah, long time.
Yeah.
So, Georgie, what was your first musical memory you can think of?
First musical memory, great question. Both my parents were really into music. My dad was super into rock bands from the 70s, like Black Sabbath, and Led Zeppelin, this kind of style. So I think my first musical memory was being about this high and being on the perfect level to go through my dad's vinyl collection and not really know what was going on, but like kind of sort of move them from side to side and kind of touch them and stuff. I guess that would be my first. Does that count?
Yeah, that counts actually.
Cool.
That counts. Yes.
That's sweet.
Great. I'm curious if you even remember your first show or what you maybe consider as a little performance you had actually.
The first show that I played.
That you played, yeah.
Yeah, for sure, I do. When I was a teenager, I remember performing barefoot because I forgot my shoes. As the singer, the lead vocalist in the band orchestra. I remember that was the first time I had this feeling, this euphoric feeling of being on stage and being the singer, and sort of like being out the front of the band and having them back you. And I must have been about 15 or something, and I remember I was in this long flowing dress and I had no shoes on, and I was singing this incredible classic New York, New York. You know that song? Yeah, and it was like I'd been chosen. I guess I was the one that could do the song, like sing the song the best out of a bunch of random high school kids. And I guess it was my first performance, and if I think about it, it's what made me fall in love with being on stage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you still remember how it looked with the audience?
Yeah, like mums and dads, just like whatever, like out there. Yeah, it was sort of just a beautiful experience. It showed me what it was like to have that togetherness that you feel with the audience when you're performing, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
What was one of the favorite shows you've ever played in your professional career then?
Oh, gosh.
Do you have one of those for us?
Favorite shows I've ever played in my professional career? Well, I think my favorite show to this day is the show that I played with my sister at a bar that used to be called Matilda. It's in Berlin now. I think last I heard it was called the Wildenbruch Bar. It's changed since then. It was in about 2014. And there were about 5 people in the audience, honestly. And her and I were playing completely improvised set. One of us on guitar, another one of us on bass, and we would just swap around. Terrible acoustics, terrible equipment, really bad PA system, mixing desk wasn't working properly. But the vibe, oh my God. Never experienced a vibe quite like that, I think, ever since.
Great. You also played a performance here with your sister with the band The Sisters back in summer.
Yes.
Which we enjoyed a lot.
Yeah,
what a
you
great
did a
vibe
live
you
stream.
guys put together.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was one of the highlights of our summer, actually, playing here with you guys. Super nice.
Great.
We've got a nice family here.
Yeah.
It's really lovely.
Yeah, the community vibe is really nice, yeah.
Yeah.
We enjoy it. I'm curious, we're having a pretty similar job, but what's the part of your job which you enjoy the most, actually?
In terms of like specific ways that I spend my time, it changes a lot. Like I will, I think that's just a bit in my nature as a person as well. I'll become obsessive over a particular thing, and I'll sort of like, I'll be really into songwriting, or then I'll be really into performing, or like whatever. So I enjoy having the freedom to change my focus every sort of couple of months. So there's so much about it that I enjoy, but I guess specifically in Berlin, what I love is the collaborative spirit that's here, that's in this city specifically. That's why I've ended up here. Like, I didn't plan to stay here. I wanted to come for 1 year, and I'm here 8. So, like, obviously I like it here. And a huge reason for that is that there's this huge creative community and everybody is keen to just do stuff with you and, you know, on so many different levels. And I think that's my favorite part about my job, is being able to work with others in that way.
Yeah. Great. So I'm curious now, what was a particular decision you've made in your career which really affected your way until today?
Actually, that probably ties into moving to Berlin. Like, as I said, didn't plan to stay here, and when the opportunity arose for me to get a visa, it was a freelance artist visa. And honestly, I'd never really had the courage before to quit my second job. I'd done music for a long time, but it was always on the side with some other job to keep me sustained financially. And when the opportunity arose for me to get this visa here in Germany, and it stipulated that you can't have another job. You're not allowed to have a second job. So I really kind of had to either take the plunge or go home. That was my choices. I was like, I go back to Sydney, get some whatever job, or I like make this work here. Yeah. And it was the thing that I needed to sort of like push me over the edge to actually go into being really a full-time musician. And I am just so happy that I had that opportunity, because I feel so incredibly privileged now to be able to do this as my job. And it allowed me to really believe in myself enough to make it work. And I have made it work, and I'm just so happy that happened.
Great.
Yeah.
Still working your ass off.
Of course.
So many
like it's not
and,
easy. Like of course, it takes a lot of determination, perseverance, a lot of really hard work. There's this stereotype about musicians that they can be a bit lazy or, you know, sleep in every day or whatever, which obviously isn't true. You need to work really hard if you want to survive doing this. But despite I work really hard, but I love every minute of it. Like, I love what I do. So.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's cool.
Really nice, I think we can really hear that in your sound as well, you know. That still sounds relaxed, that you still get in your groove, even though I know that I hardly know somebody working as much as you do, actually. Like, on so many different projects, you know, and each time we talk, something new comes up, and now you're on the piano and having, like, how many bands do you play in, actually? And you want to start that cover band of your favorite songs?
Yeah, man, covers band. Let's do it.
Why not, you know?
Yeah.
So, what is actually something you're working on at the moment?
At the moment, I mean, things are pretty quiet. Obviously with the pandemic, everything changed. I was touring most of the year up until 2020, of course. So I've shifted my focus to really my home and my routine. Like you mentioned, the piano, I've gotten a lot better at the piano over the last 12 months. I make sure that I practice an hour every morning. Wow. So that's cool.
Great example.
Starting to get into some Nina Simone songs now. Loving it. That's amazing. Fun. My main goal at the moment is actually to improve my musicality. Like, really to practice the piano, practice the guitar, improve my theory, that kind of stuff. And apart from that, I suppose I'm just working on the online side of the music business, because that's something I didn't really have a lot of time for when I was touring full time. Yeah. So I'm trying to use the time as best I can for that side of things.
Sounds like a good inspiration for many of us who maybe don't know how to use their time the best way at the moment.
Yeah, it's hard. It is really hard, especially if you're really completely autonomous and you're just like in control fully of your own days, and you don't have anywhere to be or anything like that. It's really important to, I think, try to structure your time, try to set some goals and figure out what you want to try to achieve in the time that you've got. Yeah.
Sounds good. Do you have actually an album you've enjoyed latest or lately? A music album.
I bought this amazing album on Bandcamp the other day. I just opened Bandcamp, it was featured, and I went, that sounds cool. And it's this rare soul music from South Africa in the late 70s. You can't find this music on Spotify or anything. Like, it's this incredible music that was going on, like, around the same time as, like, I don't know, Marvin Gaye. It's really awesome. And I bought it a few days ago, and it's incredible.
Wow.
It's, like, really amazing music. It's, like, really up there with, like, whatever was happening in Detroit or Chicago at the time.
Wow.
But it was separated because this was during apartheid.
Yeah.
So it's not stuff that you've, like, never heard, but it sounds really up there. Yeah, that's really, really cool album.
Sense something.
I think it's called Cultures of Soul.
Cultures of Soul.
Yeah,
all right.
super nice.
Gonna check that out.
Yeah.
So actually, what's the latest book you've bought and read?
Latest book I've bought and read. So, I've been reading a bit of non-fiction lately. We're allowed to get political. I'm not sure that's like what the rules are. But
That's fine.
the book that I'm reading at the moment is called Dark Emu. I'm nearly through it, and it's an incredible, sort of, I guess, anthropological book. It's about the Aboriginal Australian cultures that existed before colonisation. And that's something that is dear to my heart because being of English and Irish descent, it's definitely a subject that I wanted to learn more about, considering that in school we learned basically only about colonial history and not really about the Indigenous history of the land where I grew up. And yeah, Dark Emu is a book that was released, released? God, I'm such a musician. Published a few years ago. And it really kind of turned things on its head. It attempts to retell the sort of untold story of Aboriginal Australia. So that's what I'm reading right now.
Very interesting.
And it's fascinating. I would recommend it to honestly anybody. It's an incredible book. Yeah.
Awesome. Like, speaking of experiences, maybe you have a book for us which was maybe the worst book you've ever read in your life.
The worst book I've ever read. Okay, well, I don't tend to read, I guess if I was to think a book is bad, then I'll put it down. But I can think of one story of, I read a book by Cormac McCarthy called The Road. Do you know this book?
No.
It's it's a really good book. It's definitely not a bad book. I just read it at a bad time. So it's a post-apocalyptic novel. So it's really kind of he's incredibly descriptive. He describes this really dark, sort of dead landscape, and these descriptions are all the way through the book. And I happened to read it in my first winter in Berlin.
Okay.
Now, coming from Australia, like, I grew up with just like endless sunshine, so it really took me a while to adjust to the darkness, especially in the winter in Berlin. Not so much the cold, but the dark. And it was my first year as a full-time musician. So, like, I just kind of, like, dived into this world. I had no money. Yeah. It was freezing cold and super dark, and I was reading this book, and I was just like, I would look at the book, and then I'd look outside, and I'd be like, I'm in the book! Like this. Like, it was a really bad experience, but I couldn't put it down because it's an amazing book. Okay. So I guess that would be the worst book I've ever read.
That was the worst book. Yeah. Great. I think so maybe we should move on to something I want to ask you about. Is like, what's your favorite objects, or your maybe two favorite objects here in the Zen Studio? The
Zen Studios? Oh, absolutely. You know, it's an easy answer for me. My favorite objects, it's a pair of things, are those bar stools. Oh my God, they're green, sort of like velour. Yeah. They're my favourite things. Maybe my second favourite thing is that cute little mini drum kit at the entrance. In the foyer, yeah.
It's actually a present of a student of mine. He gave me to the opening of the Zen Studio. Handmade.
Lovely. Yeah, that's a really beautiful ornament.
Yeah. So, do you have any releases for us coming up soon?
My single called The Queen is going to be released on the 5th of March. That's actually quite exciting because it's in conjunction with a feature film that it's part of, which is being released on the 8th of March. Wow. As well. It's a low budget zombie horror film, and my song features heavily in the soundtrack. Amazing. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, the single's going to be out 5th of March. So that's my next big thing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So guys, I think we should take a look at that video now. So here it is. Enjoy.
Sick and tired. Poets, you don't say anything. I mean, times are tough. You can't just be like pretending to know everything. Poetry and philosophy, that's what makes us worth living. That's what's making this worth being human. You know, life? Are you even listening? I mean, I had a few, but now you're just being rude. What now? What is it? Hey babe, where you going? Wait up!
You were older, 24 or maybe 25, but I found out you were just a baby, barely 19. You told me that you liked the boys, but I could see that you liked me better than you liked him. You wanted to kiss me, and how could I resist? You were so beautiful. Tell you two things, girl. I'd say your kiss is soft and your mind is strong. If I could only tell you one thing, girl, I'd tell you this. I'd tell you this. I'd say get out of your small town and go to London. Get out of your small town and go to Paris. Get out of your small town and come to Berlin, where you can just be, just be, just be. Get out of your small town and go to New York. Get out of your small town and go to Montreal. Get out of your small town and go to Barcelona, baby. Just be, just be, just be. 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 When I met you, you were so sad, so desperate to hold on. You thought that I would be the one to take you away, but I'm not in love with you. I just spent the night with you. Maybe I'm gonna be the one to say you're gonna be all on your own till you get When I met you, I thought you were older, 24 or maybe 25, but I found out you were just a baby, barely 19. You told me that you liked the boys, but I could see that you liked me better than you liked him. You wanted to kiss me, and how could I resist? I said get out of your small town and go to London. Get out of your small town and go to Paris. Get out of your small town and come to Berlin, where you can just be, just be, just be. Get out of your small town and go to New York. Get out of your small town and go to Montreal. Get out of your small town and go to Barcelona, baby. Just be, just be, just be. Just be, just be, just be. Just be.
Danke dir, Georgie Fisher, für dieses wundervolle Interview. Bleibt dran, wir werden euch versorgen mit Tourdates von Georgie und was da in nächster Zeit so noch released werden wird. Jetzt kommen wir zum nächsten großen Punkt auf unserer Liste heute Abend. Und zwar gehen wir jetzt in eine Live-Performance von den Tinker Tapes. Live von den Zen Studios, aus den Zen Studios, direkt zu euch. Viel Spaß mit David.
sort of walking miracle. My skin bright as a Nazi lampshade. My right foot a paperweight. My face a featureless, fine Jew linen. Peel off the napkin, oh my enemy. Do I terrify? Yes, yes, Herr Professor, it is I, Professor. Can you deny the eye pits, the full set of teeth? The sour breath will vanish in a day. Soon, soon the flush, the grave cave ache will be at home on me, and I, smiling. I'm only 30, and like the I have 9 times to die. This is number 3. The big stripped teeth. My hands, my knees. I may be hands, my knees. Hands.
Vielen, vielen Dank, ihr Lieben. Vielen Dank an die Tinker-Tapes. Vielen Dank an Georgie Fisher. Vielen Dank an Rockinterviu. Und dass ihr heute alle dran wart, diese wunderbaren Performances und diese exklusiven Einblicke in den Alltag der Musikerin in Berlin zu genießen. Wenn ihr Lust habt, die Künstlerinnen aus unserem Studio zu unterstützen, dann schaut mal in die Beschreibung. Wir haben euch dort einen Spendenlink reingepackt. Wenn ihr Lust habt, ein Album aufzunehmen oder mal bei unseren Jam-Sessions vorbeizuschauen, scheut euch nicht, uns zu kontaktieren. Es wird weitere Sendungen von uns geben, also bleibt dran, stay tuned, bleibt gesund und bis bald.